y'all, it's Kelt, and today I'm introducing a new series titled How Not to Get Perished. The format of this series is pretty simple. I'm going to take a topic, explain how this topic is going to cause you to get perished, and explain what you should do instead. Some of these videos are going to be based off stuff that we see online, people giving advice like, hey, do this, and I'm going in my head, that's going to get somebody perished. And others are just going to be things that I've learned over the years based on my experience and my background of, hey, if you do this, you're going to get perished. Do that instead. So without further ado, how not to get perished? Sitting down at protests. So during the lead up to the No Kings protest, you probably saw this graphic or something like it, advising people if they were confronted with violence to just sit down. Now I'm going to go ahead and say it. Sitting down at an outdoor protest is one of the worst things that you can do. I know somebody's going to come into my comments and start screaming about sit-ins. That's not what I'm talking about. Allow me to explain. A sit-in is a very valid and very effective form of protest. What was being advertised with this graphic during the No Kings protest is not a sit-in. Notice a key component of the term sit-in. In, as in indoors. You are sitting in and taking up space in a confined area. Sit-ins happened in places such as segregated dining areas, legislators' offices, Capitol buildings, things like that. Small enclosed spaces in which you can sit in and take up space and cause a disruption by simply staying put and sitting down. The suggestion for the No Kings protest was, when confronted with violence outside at an outdoor protest, was to mass sit down and show that you were not violent while your oppressor was. Now I need you to do a thought experiment with me. I need you to pull yourself back and think like the oppressor. Think like a cop, think like an activated military member, think like a violent agitator, and look at the two groups. A group of people sitting in a small enclosed space, and a group of people sitting outside in a large open area. And realize that the tactics that you would use as the oppressor with that are going to differ greatly. And that's what's going to cause people to get perished. Look at how police have dealt with sit-ins in the past. They are trying to go in and pull people out individually. They're having to navigate crowds of not only just the people who are sitting in, but observers, press, and media in a small enclosed space. That is the point of a sit-in. You are making a disruption by taking up that space and making it hard to move. And by doing that, you are demonstrating to the observer, to the world, that the people you are protesting against are violent and brutalizing you. All you're doing is sitting there, and they are coming in and trying to yank you away from the crowds. With a sit-in, the reason you were sitting down is you were saying, I belong here. I belong in this space. Think of the segregated restaurants. People were saying, I belong here too. That's all I'm doing is saying, I belong, and look how they are brutalizing me. That's not the same reason that this is recommending that you sit down at the outdoor protest. You are sitting down at the sit-in, and not as a response to violence. Violence is the response to you sitting down. At the outdoor protest, you were telling people to sit down in response to violence. And that's what's going to get people perished. Because there is no reason to sit down in an outside protest in response to violence, because you've already shown the world that they are violent. You are just marching. You are just giving speeches. You are just chanting. And then they come and do violence. What is sitting doing for you? It's just making you an easier target for no actual gain. The world already saw that they were violent. That's why you sat down. When police, and that's the main oppressor that I'm going to use because that's the main force that the United States uses to break up protests, deal with crowds on the outside, they do things that they can't do at a sit-in indoors. They use things like projectiles. I mean, in theory, police could tear gas a restaurant, but the likelihood is not going to be that high. They need their own equipment to keep themselves safe, and they're dealing then with angry business owners that are dealing with the residue of tear gas and such all over their business. But fun fact, when you sit down, I'm over 6 foot tall. When I sit down, I'm about head height for a tear gas or rubber bullet or beanbag round right into the dome. And that is the main way that police are going to brutalize you, with projectiles such as tear gas canisters, which, believe it or not, tear gas canisters to the head can kill you. Same with rubber bullets, same with so-called beanbag rounds. And in reality, they don't even need tear gas. They can just walk up and straight mace the entire crowd like we saw on college campuses during previous protests. Sit-ins also offer you a level of protection while you're sitting down that outdoors doesn't. You've probably heard the term kettling, which a bunch of police try to move people into a secure area when they're outdoors, and they can start picking people off. When you sit down, you've done nothing but kettle yourself for them. You are no longer mobile while the police are fully mobile. That's not how it happens when you're in a sit-in in a small enclosed space. Police are now having to navigate that small enclosed space. Outdoors, they just walk your perimeter and grab who they want. And with an administration that has gotten approval to send people to countries that they're not from, including a maximum security terrorism center in El Salvador, and has expressed a desire to do the same to American citizens, getting arrested and possibly disappeared has the potential to be the equivalent of getting perished at this point. The easy solution to this when confronted with violence outside, we saw this during the Black Lives Matter protests in the early 2020s. Stay on your feet. You can still do a show of nonviolence on your feet. Have we already forgotten? Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. You're on your feet. You're still doing the same goal that you wanted. You wanted to show them that you were nonviolent. You wanted to show the world that they are violent. You are doing that, but you are maintaining your mobility. When you are faced with violence and you want to stay nonviolent, mobility is your friend. Mobility is what keeps you alive. Mobility is what prevents you from getting perished. Because there's a point of diminishing returns, of showing them that you are nonviolent and showing them that they are violent. There is a point where it is no longer beneficial to you to take the beating. So there's talk of No Kings 2.0 in July 4th, and there are other protests still going on in this country. If you see this advice again, call it out, remind them, hands up, don't shoot, stay mobile, stay alive. But as always, stay vigilant, stay safe, in addition, stay mobile. I love you all. Until next time.